Money is not neutral. It's not value neutral. All currencies support the behaviors that people express around its use. Our currency in particular have a quality of design in it, meaning that it has to be scarce in order to be valuable.
What we've done is we've created scarcity. The money system creates artificial scarcity where there need be none. For example, there's nothing more abundant on earth than water. When I was a kid, you never paid for water. Water was abundant. Water has been made scarce by many things, but by one thing, its association with money. Anything that gets associated with money is scarce because money is, as we know it today, is fundamentally scarce.
This is Economics 101. Scarcity of resources, individual insatiable appetites. That's a fearful belief. That's extremely frightening. Versus understanding that I'm related to you, and what happens to you is going to affect what happens to me.
I know there's places where there is not enough. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the lie of scarcity that is an unconscious, unexamined system of beliefs that's even before thinking. We look through a lens of scarcity at the world. So we immediately think there's not enough to go around everywhere we look.
So once something is scarce, you would see the tendency of people competing. Now, the idea is scarce. It's an idea of scarcity. It's not really scarce because it's man-made. More can be made available.
When we think of scarcity and when we think we don't have enough, we begin to hoard.
We have a world full of people who love to accumulate and claim their value or claim their prowess based on how much they've accumulated. Most financial institutions are all about how much they can accumulate.
Put it in banks, put it in stock, have huge amounts of it, let it keep building and building upon itself. When I was a kid, if somebody could say he was a millionaire, that was amazing. Now it's almost meaningless. You know? It's like, you gotta be a billionaire or more. And it's become this goal in and of itself. There's a sickness there. It's an addiction. And it also means that it drives people to do everything they possibly can to exploit everybody else just to get more money. It has also encouraged sociopaths. I think it's created sociopaths.
Actually, the accumulation is extremely unhealthy. It's like having a blood clot, in a way. I mean, we die when that kind of circulation is stopped.
Money will make us a little bit more happy, particularly if you're very poor. There's a certain amount of money that will move you from poverty to having what Erich Fromm called a pleasant sufficiency of means. What we might think of as just as a middle-class lifestyle where your adequate basic needs are cared for. But beyond that, it doesn't seem to buy much happiness.
We have projected onto money, naturally because of how things evolved, all of our hopes, all of our dreams, all of our fears, all of our desires, because money seems to be the thing that stands between us and getting our needs met.
Today, about 2/3 of our economy is based on consumer spending. Because the economy requires constant growth, if we stop spending, we fall into a recession, or worse.
Instead of citizens, we kind of think of ourselves and are referred to as consumers. And that word means he or she who depletes, takes, destroys, or diminishes.
The debt-based economy means that we are not addressing each other as people. We're addressing each other as commodities. We're seeing what we can get from each other.
Money becomes an instrument for satisfying desires that are somehow there. But desires can be artificially created by the external world.
You know, we're being bombarded with thousands of images every day that are telling us that we don't have enough, we don't look right, we don't smell right, we're not lovable, our houses aren't clean.
Which convinces us that we've got to have all kinds of things that we don't need, and we're constantly accumulating more and more and more and more and more.
Okay, it's all reuse stuff, but that doesn't mean there's not stuff. Wait a minute, prepare. I'm serious. You'll look over at the wall of shame. Look it. It's like a house constructed of Rubbermaid tubs.
Bob and I were getting married and combining households. So you put the stuff all together and say, now, where are we going to put this? You just see all of this. You're lugging it, you're carrying it, you're figuring out what to do with it. And it just seemed obscene. That's the word I keep using. It just seemed obscene, like all this stuff that maybe we would use, maybe we used it once. Like maybe it was camping gear and we only camp. Never. So we were having a garage sale. We had tables and tables of stuff out in the garage. And I'm looking at it and I just got this feeling like, ooh, I don't even want people to know that we have all this stuff. What does this say about me, about us?
They call Americans materialists, and I think we're very poor materialists because we don't appreciate the material. The real materialist has an experience of pleasure in relationship to stuff. But what we have is some frantic process of moving as much stuff through our lives as possible in a desperate search for a sense of security and a sense of value and worth.
What is it that human beings really need? I mean, shopping has never been a way to satisfaction. Show me one shopping addict who says, now I've shopped enough.
We really have very few boundaries around enoughness. How much is enough? I mean, you ask everybody that question, and there's no limit to how that gets answered.